All right, we are live. Here we go. Excellent. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening to from, whether you are joining us live or you will be looking or reviewing this on the recording. Thank you so much for joining us today for episode number 5 of our Wellness Wednesday spotlight on women within our communities or various countries, what they're doing to help support each other, men, women, children. Everybody has a gift. And I love highlighting those who are using their gifts to help make this world a better place. And so today I'm super excited about having Linda Melanson with us. Linda is local here to New Brunswick in Moncton, and she is a beautiful soul who's certainly using her gifts. And I'm very excited about having her on here today and introduce herself a little bit. She also owns the Connects Healing Center here in Moncton. So she is a practitioner, and I'm just going to stop, chatting and just hand this over to Linda. So, Linda, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. I really appreciate it and appreciate the fact that you are our episode number 5 today. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
First, I want to say thank you so much for doing this work because I feel like it's so important to just get people out there talking and getting the awareness out there about, taking health into our own hands and, just spotlighting. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I am a naturopath. I started 25 or 26 years ago, I guess now, working in health food stores. I started off in BC, which at that time, I think BC was way ahead of us here. And they were already way down the track of healing with supplements and understanding the body and how supplementing would affect. I worked with a lady there. She had been in the industry for 20 years at that point. So I got to learn a lot of wonderful things, and it was a great base. And then I moved up. I studied in Alberta. I studied in Ontario. I studied here in Moncton. And yeah, so for many years, it took me a while to get over my own blocks to be able to start putting it all together and helping people. But now I'm on my third year in my own clinic, and it's been an amazing journey of watching people learn about their bodies, heal, go from not having any quality of life to thriving. And that's been the most amazing thing to watch and be able to be a part of. So it's,
It's amazing when, just to your point, Linda, I want to share this real quick too, is that, when we support the body in the right ways, the body does the healing. And it's so important for people to know that the body is so capable, so powerful. We were designed very powerfully. And I always share with people, if you don't believe me, go look at a DNA strand, right? It's easily accessible out there on the web. Go look at a DNA strand just to imagine, everything that's happening in the body, how the body was designed to absolutely know what it needs. However, it needs, the right level of support at the cellular level to help the body to do the healing. But you know, there's no such thing as a magic pill out there that's going to help you. You need to be, need to have the mindset to want to be able to ask for help, seek help, and do the work so that the body can heal itself. And for our listeners here today, I just want to make sure we put in a disclaimer, right? We are not diagnosing, treating, or curing disease. The body does that. And so this is for informational and educational purposes. But we also have people like Linda who, pours her heart and soul into learning and challenging the status quo and helping people to take back their sovereign health and their power in doing that. So, Linda, I really thank you for doing what you do.
yeah. And that is a big, like, I make
Mhm.
sure, like, I'm only here to help you learn about your body. I'm not here to tell you what is happening in your body. I'm not here to diagnose you or even tell you how to cure it. I may make some suggestions of maybe you should look into this, or maybe there's something like that you can think about, or and that is provoking your own research, your own desire to learn about what the body does need, because we need to create pathways for the body to heal. So it's like, you're going down a road and that road is getting really bumpy because, things are not very good on that road for the body. So what you need to do is create a smoother pathway off that road onto another one that's got a smoother ride to it. Yeah,
I like that analogy, right? Because again, we always have two paths we can take: disease management, prevention, right? I always love the prevention road because during the prevention road, you get to meet people like you. You get to meet other people that help you to expand your mind, helps you to expand what is possible and the opportunities that are out there. So, one road is very low vibrational energy, lots of appointments, lots of fear, lots of, anger, lots of disconnection. The other road I always share with people is filled with incredible people and an ability to expand and shift your mind about what is possible. And you're definitely one of those people who helps people to understand, that piece of what is possible.
that's right. And so I do that through, we look at live blood. So we put it up on a screen and we can actually see, what's going on in the bloodstream, how your cells are looking, how they're operating with one another, what the environment it's sitting in. So we're looking at all of that. I also look at eyes. So we do iridology, and I can see how the system is working together. If you have leaky gut, where is it leaking? What is it affecting? And how can we start to clean that up and repair the gut lining? And then I also do two different types of quantum scans. So I do the vital health one that you've so graciously helped me with. And then I have another one. It is a quantum scan as well. That's a little bit like, I love the vital health because it's looking at the whole system. So it's looking at the whole cardiovascular, the whole GI tract, the whole, so it kind of gives you this really broad, nice look. Whereas the other one gives me more pinpointed, possibilities of, is this, what's happening, or is that, and with everything that I look at, I can get really close to, what is creating imbalance in the body and how to create a path to healing with that.
Path that they can choose to
That's
take.
right. That's right. Exactly.
And it's about understanding. I know we just live in such an incredible time on earth. I know that, there's lots of negative stuff happening as well too. But when you look at the positive, and I tend to look more towards what's evolving in our world, what has to, fall away, what's coming in. But we live in such an incredible time, Linda, where technology is really helping people to get back to what is their body signaling system telling them, right? So the data that is collected is not diagnostic data, but it's data that it's their body signal, and every body is different. And so therefore, when you can understand your body signaling and what it's telling you, that is just information that's being gathered from your particular body. Then you have the opportunity to get really smart about the choices that you're making, right? And what you're putting in your body, instead of seeing maybe, somebody like an influencer on TikTok saying, oh, you should be taking this because this is really good for you. Well, it might be great, but it might not be good for your particular body. And so, having experienced that myself in the past of, spending $200 on supplements and going home going, God, I feel like a dartboard and someone's just throwing a dart saying, let's try this. This might stick, and not understanding what my body signaling, was saying. So you've got a large um, opportunity of what you offer to help people understand those body signaling systems.
Absolutely. And that is extremely important. And the other thing is, I don't go to supplements and herbs or homeopathy first. I really talk a lot about food. I talk a lot about how actually food is medicine. So
Hmm.
and it's the basis, it's the first medicine that we have access to all of the time. So you can choose to have foods that, you can see in the mainstream that they talk about these foods being the wonder food and this is but actually when you actually have that food on a regular basis, it changes your pH. If your pH is changed on a regular basis, it makes you more vulnerable to other pathogens coming in and, causing havoc on your body. So
Hmm.
really is number one medicine, right? We all have to have it. We all use it in
Yeah.
different, but if we can use it to our advantage, and so when I do talk about food, I do your blood type. Number one is, we talk a lot about eating right for your blood type. There's a lot of controversy, but I have client after client who, when they get on that track, things change, and they definitely go through a healing just eating right for your blood type. Number two is, how is your genetic reproduction? So, a lot of times,
Mm.
genetic reproduction isn't something that I consider on the first visit. But if somebody has like continually issues that they're not resolving. So, usually after the first month, somebody will come to me. The first time they visit, they had a long list of symptoms. Most times, just through diet and a couple of little supplements and things that we do, those symptoms are three-quarters of the way gone. They might have a few that'll stick around.
Hmm.
And I look at your genetic reproduction. Okay, so at that point, I can start to pinpoint, okay, this is what's going on. This is probably your genetic reproduction issues that we're having. So let's start to zone in on those types of that type of eating as well.
Right.
Like sometimes it's just a matter of, you can't eat leftovers that have been sitting out. Like you have to flash freeze it. So you can't even take it from the stove and put it in the fridge. It's not killing, like, it's not stopping that bacteria reproduction enough because your body can't remove bacteria fast enough.
Right.
Right? So then that bacteria can easily like build up and start to cause havoc in your digestion and other areas.
Huh.
That is one of the things. Another one is that maybe your body removes dopamine, serotonin, like these hormones very quickly, too quickly. So then afternoon crashes, you'll have, depressed moods or not feeling motivated to do anything. That's an indication that that genetic reproduction works differently for you. So then we need to include other foods that help your body slow down that removal of those hormones. So that's just diet. That's just you to understand your body and what it able to operate optimally.
And I love that. I do, because the more I learn too, and the more I study, the more it makes sense to me, right? And it always has, that each body is completely different, right? So I remember back years ago when I learned that I had an MTHFR gene mutation, that I absolutely needed to have methylfolate and methylated B vitamins, and couldn't figure out why, I was having issues with that prior to. And so when you learn these things and you absolutely understand that, from an ancestral standpoint, our bodies are all genetically different. And I remember one particular thing, Linda, Millennia green tea. So, green tea is really good for you, right? And that green tea was, picked right off, from Sri Lanka. I just loved what that lady and her husband were doing with that company as well, too. So I was drinking it a lot because, green tea is really good for you. Well, guess what? It wasn't good for my body, right? And when I learned that I had a gene mutation, that green tea for me is a no-go. I cannot have green tea, right? So I was having inflammation, I was having bloating and swelling and all these things. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on with my body, because I was just drinking all this green tea that's supposed to help inflammation. So all that to say, just to give an examples of what you're talking about, and for our listeners, right? If you're trying all the things like most of us do, right? You try all the things, you go to the health food store, you're buying this, you're buying that because it's labeled as very healthy for your body. Just stop, right? Stop and get some support on understanding what your particular body needs.
Yep, exactly. And to kind of point it out, like coconut is one of those big things that's this broad put out there as such a healthy thing. And actually, coconut for all blood types is not good,
Oh,
right? And so that's another one that I think it depends too on how well your body is metabolizing and all of those things, because certain body types are going to be able to metabolize even things that are not that good for them better than others. But I would have to say coconut long term, and we're talking like years every single day, is probably going to create an issue in the long run. So,
wow, that's a new perspective. That's an interesting, right? Again, it's opening the mind, taking information in, what feels right for you, you take it, and what doesn't, just leave it on the table. But Linda, that's amazing. I didn't realize that. I mean, I do use coconut milk, but not very often. But, in certain recipes or what have you, but I had no idea. That's very interesting.
and coconut water is a bit different. Coconut water has electrolytes. It actually is very absorbable to the system. It's actually one of the better ones if we're looking for a natural Gatorade. Coconut
Mm,
water, definite better choice. And it doesn't your body doesn't treat it the same way it does the coconut meat and the coconut oil.
interesting.
And like I
See,
said,
I love
it's okay for a treat, but it's just not something that you should be having on a daily basis for long, long periods of time.
right. I absolutely love talking to different practitioners and different people that are doing things because, again, you learn, there's always nuggets of gold, right, in every conversation. And those nuggets of gold can certainly help others. And that's an interesting perspective. I just love that, Linda. Thank you. Every time I talk to Linda, just so you all know, listeners, she is just a wealth of information. And every time I talk to her, I walk away, just amazed, right? Because again, there's so much information out there. But when you meet with certain people and there's a connection, that there's truth there, and your soul is accepting it and recognizing it and understanding it. So last week we had a really interesting conversation, and I'm not sure if you want to even broach that subject or not, Linda, but um
Well, I
I
believe
could.
it's detox pathways, right?
Yes.
Right. So we were talking a lot about liver congestion, kidney congestion, and how we're kind of living in a time when everybody's jumping on board for these parasite cleanses, which I am all for. I think it's wonderful. I think everybody should be doing a parasite cleanse once a year at least. But there is prep that the body needs before we start killing off these little pathogens. And you know what? Some your body is already has very clean pathways. You can do a parasite cleanse and nothing's ever going to happen that's bad. But there are certain people who have more than others. And if they jump on a cleanse and a parasite cleanse without having their detox pathways open, it certainly can leave them in a very vulnerable position of clogging up those pathways and having a healing crisis, I call it. Well, I don't call it. Actually, I was actually doing some studying last night and I came across I've definitely known about healing crisis before. Excuse me, I just have somebody knocking at my door. Just give me one sec.
Sure. We are coming to you live, ladies and gentlemen. We show up as we are, and as you can see, I've got some beautiful sunlight streaming in here as well too. So I'm going to move my camera just a little bit because it was definitely a glow. So I am very thankful for all of you for taking the time to join us every Wednesday. And each week I am searching out those individuals who are not afraid to help us to expand our minds and help us to stand in our sovereign health and knowledge, because I believe that we're at a time on this earth that we absolutely need to be supporting one another and sharing this information and creating a community. So I really appreciate all of you for joining and giving us your time. All right, Linda is back. Thank you, Linda.
Sorry about that. That was an odd, random thing. But, anyways,
It's all
uh,
good.
Hey, so we were talking about the detox pathways and
Hmm.
like the craze of parasite cleansing that everybody is jumping on board with, which I am in total support of. Yet, I do think that there is a lot of lack of knowledge in the you know, binders are extremely important because as these things die off, a bunch of different chemicals in the diet, which if they're not removed on a regular basis, cause issues. Um, and I mean issues like headaches, constipation, diarrhea, just overall feeling not right. Um, the other thing is making sure that your liver and your kidneys are also operating properly. And your lymphatic system is extremely important in all of that as
Yes.
well. A lot of times, if the liver and kidneys are not working properly, your lymphatic system is probably not draining. So, the lymphatic system is when you're working on systemic parasites, right? So, systemically, parasites, when they die, same thing as they leave off these chemicals or as they are dying. And your lymphatic system is supposed to be picking up that stuff, moving it down through the kidneys and the liver as it's cleaning out. But stagnation in the lymphatic system can be caused by these little critters as well, right? So it's knowing how do we have a clean lymphatic system? How do we have a clean liver?
Mhm.
And before we even get on that path, it's really important to make sure that those areas are ready to go before we start cleansing. Um,
Yes.
I've just seen quite a few nightmares, and you know, I've actually seen it with people going through chemotherapy as well, right? So going through a cancer treatment, you're still killing something in your body. It's still giving off a chemical. It's still, and if
Yep.
we diet right, if we don't have our pathways moving, that can also cause a little bit of issue. Um, anyway,
Yeah.
that
I was actually one of those nightmares that you're talking about. So, I will openly share because I always openly share all the things that I test on myself with my viewers. And, a few years back, because I've had chronic constipation issues my whole life up until I met Dr. Tony at Vital Health. So my life has changed. But it was interesting, Linda, because I did a credible um, detox or parasite cleanse by a lady who that is her mission in life. And it was interesting because I became very sick. And you want to know why I became very sick? Because you already mentioned it, right? Is because constipation was my everyday. So I was in a really bad accident when I was 6 years old, and that's what kind of caused that whole thing to start. But what was really interesting is that I thought I was doing my body something good because I was thinking, okay, well, maybe this is the one thing I haven't tried. Maybe this will help to support that. And it was really interesting because I got very, very, very sick. And then learning, right? Oh, I should have did more homework before I did that. And then understanding that the detox pathways were so very important. And then learned, with the vital health scanner that I had some, the liver was congested, the, kidneys were congested, right? So when there's congestion there, to your point, and I'm just giving the viewers an example of myself, once I was able to start cleansing that and getting, even doing rebounding, I was doing rebounding every single day, but that's not enough for the lymphatic system, right? So doing the detox platform that that we personally use at Vital Health, that has helped me immensely. And I'm not saying that's the only one that's out there, but for me it was really important. The herbs have worked, the herbs and adaptogens have worked really well, and now I just feel like I'm becoming a different person. But again, after years of that stagnation, and even though doing vibration plates, doing the rebounding, walking, sweating, it wasn't enough. And so please hear Linda when she says, make sure you're working with somebody to ensure that that your detox pathways are opened, because before you decide to go and do that, work with somebody that is reputable and knowing how to do it properly. Save yourself a whole lot of grief, is what I'm trying to convey here.
yeah, and I mean ultimately there's mistakes in everything, right? So right? Like there's certain times that you might miss something as a practitioner that that somebody comes to see you and you're like, "Oh, okay." so it's not pointing the fingers and it's not saying,
No.
it just sometimes I miss it too, right? Like we'll do a
Yep.
month up the pathways and they come back and I think, oh, okay, we're ready. And then we'll start and they'll call me in a couple days and be like, oh my God, this is how I feel.
Yep.
Okay, not ready yet. Let's go. Let's feels on back. Let's try doing this for our opening our pathways and that first before we, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just, there's no right or wrong. It's just
Right.
your own body. And then I say that to everybody. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. You know your body best. If it's not working, you need to stop,
Yeah.
and have those communication pathways open with my clients. Like, please message me, please call me. Don't suffer through anything. Tell me what's going on. There's certain things that when people like, okay, that's normal. That's probably going to go. If it doesn't go away in another day, like call me back and we'll probably readjust on in 24 hours. We know that's just a normal thing that can happen with what we're doing. But if there's something that's happening for, 3 or 4 days long, like I'm like, no, 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 no. We need to put the brakes on as possible. So,
Mm. And
uh,
again, it comes back to understanding your body um and taking onus over that. And to your point too, Linda, thank you for saying that too, because remember, everybody is human. We do the best we can with what we have as far as knowledge goes, regardless of if you're dealing with health, if you're dealing with, your family, your kids, your spouses, it doesn't matter. Whatever aspect in life that you're dealing with, you're doing the best that you can do in that exact moment with the knowledge that you have. So thank you for bringing that up, Linda.
I mean, yeah, everybody is just trying to, I mean, there's so much information out there. There's so much to do. And each person is such a unique individual. There's not one glove that fits all of them. Right. So it's really like, and that's what I love so much about the Vital Health products is that there's such a wide range of different, and each product, like I know that there are certain things that they're made specifically for, but they do so, like the broad range of each product, so amazing. And that's why I love it so much, actually.
It's plants, right? I always tell people we're like plants. Don't water us for a week and see what happens. Right? So it's the energy of the plants. And yes, you're right. It's not there's a lot that's available to us to help support our health. So okay, so we are at almost at the 30-minute mark. And Linda, I just love talking to you. I could talk to you for hours because you've got so much knowledge. So if any of the listeners that are in the Moncton area or surrounding areas would like to make an appointment with you, how do they do that?
Well, you can find me on my website. It's lindamelanson.com. You can also reach me on Facebook. You can just look me up under Linda Melanson. Um, I also have, I would have to say those are the best ways. And then my phone number is reachable on all of those platforms. So yeah.
What what we'll do is we will, just for the listeners here, what we'll do is after this is all uploaded and posted, we'll make sure that we post your links to your website, Linda, for people to reach you and seek an appointment with you. Again, for everybody that's listening, data is important because they're data points that you can use. Um, and sometimes listening to your body is the best first step that you can do so that it gets specific to your body. And Linda, I want to thank you again for being here with us today because I know your schedule is very busy and I really appreciate you taking the extra time. So before I close, I just want to remind our viewers you are absolutely more than you appear to be. Anchor your brilliance. It's in you to give, share with others because that's how we evolve as human beings. So thank you all for your time today. Much love, much appreciation. Talk next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.